They say every detective has one case that keeps them up at night. For Detective Mark Reece, it wasn't the one that got away. It was the one he caught. Because deep down, he knew he'd caught the wrong man. And when the truth finally clawed its way out, it didn't just ruin his career. It destroyed everything he thought he knew about justice, guilt, and himself. August 4th, 2009, Atlanta, Georgia. Rain hammered the city all night. At 2:47 a.m., a call came through. A woman's scream, followed by silence. When officers arrived at Riverside Apartments, they found the door to Unit 3C kicked open. Inside, blood on the walls, furniture overturned, and Jessica Holbrook, age 32, lying on the living room floor. Cause of death, blunt force trauma. Weapon, a broken lamp. Whoever did it, she probably knew. Detective Mark Reece, 38 years old, was lead on the case. Decorated, respected, and known for closing files fast. He'd built his career on one thing: results. But this one would cost him everything. By noon, Reece had his target: Marcus Reed, Jessica's ex-boyfriend. They dated 2 years. Messy breakup. Restraining order filed 6 months earlier. Neighbors said they'd heard shouting the week before the murder. That was enough for Reece. He brought Marcus in. Tired, panicked, angry. The man didn't help his own case. "You think I killed her?" he shouted. "I loved her, man." Reece saw emotion as guilt. He wrote it in the report that way. No lawyer present. No video recording. Just a confession form. And a signature smudged with sweat. Case closed. The media called Reece Atlanta's bloodhound. Marcus Reed was sentenced to life without parole. Reece got a promotion, a plaque, and silence. For a while. For years later, a letter arrived at the precinct. No return address. Just one line written in shaky pen. "You framed the wrong man." Inside the envelope was a photo. Jessica Holbrook, smiling. Taken hours before she died. But it wasn't from her apartment. It was taken outside a motel 2 miles away. And standing behind her, blurred but visible, was Detective Mark Reece. Reece claimed he didn't remember that night. Said he'd never met Jessica before the murder. But records showed otherwise. 3 months before her death, Reece had investigated Jessica's workplace, a charity front suspected of laundering money. She'd been a cooperating witness. He'd been her handler, but he never told the department that. The more internal affairs dug, the worse it got. Bank statements, deleted texts, late-night calls from an unlisted number. Reece and Jessica weren't just connected. They'd been involved. And the night she died, Reece's cell phone pinged. 2 blocks from her apartment, not 30 miles away, like his alibi claimed. Reece's career collapsed overnight. He was suspended. His wife left him. His reputation vanished. But what ate at him most wasn't the shame. It was the letter. Someone out there knew. Someone who wanted him to remember. So he started digging into his own case. He reread every line of the original file. Marcus Reed's statement, the witness reports, and the evidence log. That's when he saw it. The fingerprint report was missing. The only physical evidence linking Marcus to the scene. Gone. And the officer who processed it? A rookie who'd quit 2 weeks later. Her name, Hannah Carter. Reece tracked her down, now living in Tennessee, working at a hardware store. She refused to talk at first. Then she said something that stopped him cold. "You told me to lose it." According to Hannah, Reece had ordered her to clean the paperwork after Marcus was booked to streamline the file. He didn't remember doing that. But then again, he didn't remember much about that week at all. She said he'd looked different, tired, distracted, drinking. "You said the case was personal," she told him, "and that you were ending it one way or another." Reece felt the room spin, because there was 1 week of his life he couldn't explain, and it was the week before Jessica died. Haunted, Reece went back to his old house. In the basement, he found an old box of tapes. dictations he used to record during cases. One was labeled Holbrook June. He hit play. Static. Then his own voice. Meeting with Jessica. She's scared. Says someone's following her. Says it's connected to the charity. She wants protection. Then silence. Then something else. A second voice in the background. Deep. Male. Calm. You can't protect her, Mark. Not from me. The tape cut off. He rewound it a dozen times. That voice, he knew it. He just couldn't place it. Back in 2009, Reece's partner on the case had been Detective Paul Mendez, his best friend since the academy. Mendez had been there the night of the arrest. He'd been the one who found Marcus Reed's wallet in the dumpster, the key evidence that sealed the conviction. Reece drove 2 hours to see him. Mendez looked older, nervous. He'd retired early. When Reece asked about the wallet, Mendez laughed, not happily. You still don't get it, do you? He poured himself a drink. Said something Reece never forgot. You didn't frame the wrong man, Mark. You just didn't know who framed you. Mendez told him everything. Jessica Holbrook had stumbled on evidence that the charity was a front, not for money laundering, but for an undercover narcotics operation. The department was running off the books. And the man running it? Mendez himself. When Jessica threatened to expose it, he panicked. Reece had been drinking that night, furious after Jessica ended things. Mendez used that, fed him enough to black out. Then he killed her, staged the scene, and used Reece's fingerprints to make it look like he'd been there. When Marcus Reed became the perfect fall guy, he pushed the confession through. Reece never questioned it, because guilt made him blind. Reece recorded Mendez's confession on his phone, but when he went to hand it to Internal Affairs, the recording was gone, deleted. The next day, Mendez was found dead in his garage. Single gunshot wound. Suicide, they said, except there was no gunpowder residue. Reece knew what that meant. Someone else was still cleaning house. Then came another letter. Same handwriting. You can't frame what's already guilty. Inside a photo. Reece, Mendez, and Jessica together at a bar from years ago. In the background, someone sitting in the shadows. The outline of a man. Tall, bearded. Captain Ray Coleman, their old commanding officer. Coleman had retired quietly in 2010. Moved to Florida. No contact with the department since. Reece booked a flight, but before he could leave, his apartment was broken into. Nothing stolen, just one thing left behind. A broken lamp, same kind that killed Jessica. He found Coleman living in a gated community near Tampa. Gray-haired, frail, and sitting on a porch. When Reece approached, the old man smiled. You came back, son. Reece asked him one question. Why? Coleman's eyes narrowed. Because some cases aren't about solving. They're about surviving. He explained that Jessica's murder had been a cover-up for something far larger. The charity Jessica worked for was laundering federal by money from sting operations. If the public found out, the department would collapse. Jessica got too close. Mendez followed orders. And Reece was the perfect fall guy. If things ever went wrong, Coleman called it necessary evil. Reece called it murder. Reece left the house shaking. He called the local police to report everything. But before they arrived, the house exploded. Gas leak, they said. No survivors. Reece knew better. He returned to Atlanta, a ghost of himself. No job, no badge, no reason left to hide. He went to Marcus Reed's prison and sat across from the man he'd condemned. Reed looked older, harder, but when Reece told him the truth, he just smiled. Took you long enough. Turns out Reed had written the letters. He'd known about Mendez and Coleman for years, but no one would listen. Reece asked him why he didn't tell the world. Because nobody listens to the guilty, Reed said, even when they're innocent. Reece spent the next year trying to clear Reed's name. Filed appeals, wrote reports, went public with the story, but without proof, without Mendez or Coleman. It went nowhere. Then one night, he got a call from block number. A woman's voice. Soft. Familiar. She forgave you. Then the line went dead. He traced the number to a payphone. The same one from Jessica's last call. The night she died. A year later, Reece vanished. His truck was found abandoned, off a highway near Chattanooga. Inside, a single cassette tape. On it, his voice. We always think justice is about right and wrong. But justice isn't balance. It's punishment, then a pause. And maybe, in the end, I got exactly what I gave. The tape ended. His body was never found. But weeks later, a package arrived at the department. Inside was a confession file. Every document proving Reed's innocence. Every hidden report Mendez had buried. Stamped with Reece's initials. The same file that had once framed an innocent man now freed him. Detective Mark Reece started as a hero, then became a villain, then disappeared as both. Some say he died hunting the truth. Others say he joined it, became another ghost, in the endless corridors of unsolved cases. But every now and then, a rookie detective at the precinct swears they hear typing in the old office and find fresh notes added to cold case files that were locked decades ago. Each one signed the same way. Case closed. Finally, this is Hidden Case Files, true crime, where justice isn't blind. It just waits for you to look away. Subscribe, because some cases don't end. They wait for you to open them.